Hello, this is Don Victor, author of Drawn to Win, host of the podcast Drawn to Win, the director of the Academy of Composition, and the creator of the Core 80 Experience, also known as the See and Grow Rich in Art video course, which you can find out more information at core80.com. This is the Drawn to Win podcast, where I have the incredible privilege to draw artists from around the world into fun and meaningful conversations around art and life, and yes, maybe even a little food. You can hear us each week on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and YouTube. So make sure you subscribe so you always have a seat among friends. Let's get into the show. Hey, Helen, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Indeed. Now, I want to ask you a quick question because people are listening to this conversation and they're going to hear your accent. So where is it that you actually live right now?
I'm living in New Zealand, the biggest city, Auckland.
Okay, so the accent that we hear, that's a New Zealand accent?
Actually not. I don't think I pick, maybe I'll just pick a little bit accent, but mostly I pick it from my English teachers. She probably come from Britain or some, yeah. So it's I don't know, it's really hard to tell.
No, but like where are you originally from?
China,
Wow.
northeast part, yeah.
Northeast China, and so I'm gonna have to ask you. We'll come back to it, but I really want to know what that journey was like for you, and what motivated you, what gave you the strength and the courage to move such a distance. But before that, what are you currently doing? Like, what are you doing now?
So I'm currently working for the Chinese National Geography magazine. I'm working on a book about the Chinese bird species. So I'm taking charge of the hawk and the buzzard and the heron and egrets and storks.
Wow. Yeah, that's really cool. Now,
yeah.
Now,
kind of.
Are these birds all located within China?
Yeah, sure. Like,
okay.
Also some of them even in my hometown.
Really? So you grew up with them? Wow.
Yeah.
So in a weird way, you're kind of like the Chinese Audubon. Do you know who Audubon is?
Yeah, I know. It's a North American bird. I really, really love his works. It's so vivid. Yeah.
That's awesome. Like with the bird drawings, because you're doing all these illustrations for this book, did you love drawing birds, or do you just love drawing stuff like sciencey stuff, and this happens to be the project that you're working on?
To drawing at the very beginning, because when I was a kid, I always, like drawing everywhere. So even the wall of my home, and I can't stand it. I leave blank space of the wall, so that make my parents really, really annoying. But I just have the passions, and also because I live near the zoo, only 5 minutes away from my home.
Oh my gosh, you're so lucky.
Yeah, I'm so lucky. So I visit there a lot. So in a really way, familiar with.
As a little Helen. Now, just so that people understand, like, Helen, what's your real name?
Dinghao.
Dinghao, right? Did I say that right? Oh, look at that! Shit. I'm coming to China now. I got Dinghao down.
Yeah, that's really good.
So what would you say? Dinghao namaste, right? Or would you say namaste Dinghao? Or no, ni hao ma, right? Ni hao ma.
Yeah, ni hao.
Yeah. No, darn it! I already forgot your name.
Never mind. Ding Hao is like, how are you?
Yeah, Ding Hao. Okay, so anyways, Helen, let's get back to the conversation.
Okay.
So in a way, as a little Helen, Um, you were drawing on all the walls. You were at the zoo. So
Yeah.
did you kind of feel like a caveman? Like, like you were doing cave drawings?
Yeah, it's really really similar. You see, I'm it's like the the passion
Mm-hmm.
when I it's definitely like a caveman. When you saw things, you want to draw it anywhere, and you try to admire it anytime.
Mm.
So
That's
that's
awesome.
it's also it's also the first time I saw the caveman drawing. I thought it's so alive.
Mm-hmm.
It's those drawing is the people who live with animal and see animal every day can draw that. So if you only see the picture or you know only see the picture or the videos, you can't do that.
Indeed.
So yeah, it's probably this the original willing for me to begin to draw. It's because I saw them and I really appreciate it and I want to draw it.
Mm.
Yeah, it's kind of
And,
like that.
and what was your relationship with the animals? I mean, obviously you were drawing them, you had access to them, which I just find fascinating. Um, but
I
oh,
scare them.
you scared them?
Yeah, they terrified me a lot. You
Oh,
see,
you were scared of them?
I scare
Okay,
them.
okay, okay.
Yeah, it's a very interesting experience. You know, when I was a kid, I still can remember that moment. My grandma took me to the zoo, and the
Mm-hmm.
zookeeper told us, because we visit a lot, so they told us, okay, we got a new group of emu in the
Mm-hmm.
zoo now. So do you guys want to see them? And my grandma definitely took me to see the emu. I
And
never see
that's a
them
bird,
before.
right? Like a big bird?
Yeah,
Okay.
huge one. This huge
Okay.
one from Australia. So
Cool.
I didn't know that. So I just went there. I was very tiny, so my grandma kind of held me, and I
Mm-hmm.
sitting on the fan. So this email, they kind of maybe they're new. They really like to see people, or I don't know why. They very curiosity. So they just running towards me, and they began very close because they're really tall. I can see see directly into their eyes,
Mm-hmm.
and their face is very stranger to a little girl. It's so scary,
Mm.
and I can directly look inside their hazel eyes, and it's a scary moment. But I also find it's beautiful.
Mm.
So it's a really strange combination emotions for me.
Indeed.
Yeah, do you understand? It's very strange and beautiful. So I think I still can remember that moment. So every time I draw birds or drawing animals, I will kind of like memorize that moment, that
Mm.
feeling. So
Indeed.
that the original passion for me to join them. I guess, yeah.
That's
I don't
beautiful.
know whether you can understand or
No,
not.
I understand exactly what you're saying. Norman Rockwell, he was a famous American illustrator. He said one of the secrets to his success was that in his illustrations, he could make the viewer feel more than two emotions. And
Oh,
so I'm telling that to you because I want you to become very conscious of that. So when you're doing like the birds of prey, it's perfect for you, hawks and eagles and things, because there is a moment of holy crap, these things could like rip my face off and eat my
exactly.
eyeballs. But at the same time, they're like, oh my God, they're so majestic and beautiful, right?
Yeah, it's like dinosaurs. You see,
Yeah.
Jurassic Park.
It's like, oh, look, it's so pretty.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay. Next minute it eat you.
um, but as the illustrator, being able to figure out how to make the viewer feel both those realities, and it doesn't just have to be beauty and fear. It could be whatever it is, right? You could have a bird,
Elegance. Yeah,
elegance, yeah, elegance.
elegance is very important to me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, only for me, the elegance is. I think I take that from the traditional Chinese bird painting from
Yes.
Song Dynasty, kind of like 1,000 years ago. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it's a very famous empire. He is fascinating in drawing birds, and he created this style.
Mm.
It's elegancy of the birds, and this is kind of stage. And the Chinese traditional painters is take him. It's a generation by generation. I really like this style. So I think elegance is quite important. It's from my culture, I
Yeah.
guess.
Now let's have a
Yeah.
conversation around elegance. Like I want to
Yeah.
know the word is a big word. And so I'd like to go a little deeper into it and really get to the spirit of elegance. Because I agree with you 100%. A lot of those paintings, if I'm correct, there are a lot of crane paintings, iris paintings, right? I think it's an iris, IRIS bird. Iris?
Uh,
No? Um,
Never mind.
okay. I think I'm mispronouncing the bird, but
Ibis, maybe ibis. That
yes, yes,
was.
yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, and which are one of my favorite types of water birds. I used to work for a company called uh, Ibis, and their logo was that, and so I had to draw that thing a billion times.
It's a one of my favorite bird.
Yeah, nice, nice.
Yeah,
So
because they're the god of
because the
Egypt.
what? Oh yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they're god. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, they're very elegant birds, and so I agree with you. So when you're looking at this art and you're looking at these birds and you're saying it's elegant, what is it about the art that makes it elegant from your perspective?
Um, I think tidy and clean.
Okay,
That is the only two words that
you're
I
saying
can
it's
think
tidy
now.
and clean. It's clean.
Yeah,
Okay.
and you um and the post of the bird.
Okay.
You see, some bird have this elegance in their lives, like a heron. You know,
Mm-hmm.
those water bird, they're always standing still in the besides the water, and when people saw them, people say, "Oh wow, they're so elegant." And yeah, they have the patience to wait for their praise. So maybe they didn't notice the way they're standing is elegance themselves, but they make people feel it's like a statue. It's
Mm-hmm.
very ancient Greek style statue of grace.
Mm.
Yeah, maybe that's the reason of the grays and their colors always white,
Mm-hmm.
gray, and it's a very cold feeling, so that maybe also the element make them so grace. Yeah,
I would
but
agree. Mm-hmm.
yeah, and also they probably some other reasons. Maybe just the spirit, because I'm normally doing the eagles and
Mm-hmm.
the hawks and the herons. They are more elegant than pigeons. Maybe we're too familiar with the pigeons, and we see the pigeons like the red with a wing. So probably it's just in people's concept. I don't know. It's really tricky to see.
The pigeons.
Yeah, yeah, I know.
I grew up
It's
with lots
everywhere.
of I grew up with lots of pigeons. When I was very very young, I was very 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 poor, and so the pigeons were like what we called city chickens, um, and they were just
Yeah.
like in all of the little crack houses and all the like literally like they'd be everywhere, and we would run and like throw jackets or blankets or whatever over top of them to catch them. And then as I was growing up, I went into one foster home, and the father, he
Oh.
he raised pigeons, and even to this day, he still raises his pigeons and all kinds of birds. We have Chinese pheasants and beautiful, beautiful
Oh,
animals,
yeah, yeah.
peacocks, which I haven't seen you do a Chinese pheasant, which you have to do one. I mean, um,
But I didn't take charge with that part. It's another teammates do
well, you
that.
do it for yourself, but
Yeah, sure, yeah, sure.
um,
I definitely will.
yeah, because you would crush it. You would do really great with it.
Thank
Um,
you.
and he would raise pigeons that he would then take out and they would race, and it was fascinating to watch these pigeons. Um,
Yeah, even the pigeons have the elegance. When the
Mm-hmm.
pigeon, the papa pigeon chasing his mate, it's
Mm-hmm.
very funny. And to looking him that way is a kind of following the female bird all around,
Yep.
and his feather is a kind of like larger than before, and the glare of the neck is so beautiful, and
Mm.
the gesture is also is have some kind of elegancy inside.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
That when you were saying the pose of the herons, I think the word is gesture, which is just this long, elegant gesture. You know,
yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
and what's interesting is a lot of people will say, "Oh, it's just because it's a long bird," and the reality is this: when you draw, all you're doing is making marks on paper, right?
yeah, yeah.
So even though it looks like the heron, the truth is it ain't a heron. It's a set of marks. And those set of marks, when the eye, you know, receives that light, it's
Mm.
interpreted in the brain. And so the trick to getting the elegance is not actually making it look like the animal. It's actually controlling the eye so the eye has this beautiful, graceful descension.
Yeah,
It moves
exactly.
slowly, because if you move it too fast, it loses the elegance, right? But it has to you have to
Yeah,
move the eye very slowly, and that has nothing to do with the bird. It has everything to do with how you design that image.
yeah.
Uh, but and I think uh, those Chinese bird paintings, they've mastered that. The bird was it was as if it was a mark of calligraphy, you know?
Yeah, yeah, you're right. But unfortunately, the Chinese people nowadays, Chinese people not very into the animal paintings. The Japanese actually do the most jobs. So
Oh,
you
really?
actually right. Yeah, 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 yeah. I think the most elegancy birds are drawing actually by Japanese
By the
people in
Japanese.
the yeah in the East Asia.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I would
yeah,
agree with that.
that's
Um,
right.
Now, what's interesting, I really like the fact that you come from this Chinese background or even this Asian background, and you're doing this artwork because,
Yeah, the very Western style.
well, it is, and maybe you can enlighten me on this. When I was in college, I had a lot of friends who were from Asia, different parts of Asia, Thailand, Taiwan,
Ah,
China,
yeah.
Japan, Korea, and it it wasn't really looked upon like being an artist or an illustrator. There were very, very few. I mean, honestly, I could probably, out of thousands of students, count like maybe five that were in the fine arts, like the painting or illustration
Yeah, I
department.
agree with you totally. I agree with you totally. You see, our book, our handbook of Chinese species,
Mm-hmm.
actually is the second book
Hmm.
of Chinese bird species. I was very, very surprised about that, because Chinese is a huge country and we have thousands species of bird. But that one only the second books. The first book actually written by a British guy called John McKinnon. And the
Mm.
illustration, I think is by his wife called Karen Phillips.
Okay.
Yeah. So they actually, that is the only book we can take a reference it yeah
So
from.
does that so on the second book, you are now working on it. Are there other Chinese artists that are working in that book, or are you the only one?
Yeah, you see, the very interesting thing is all my teamwork, they are not um, I think only two are formal trained art students, but
Mm-hmm.
other of us, I think we have 10 people. Not basically where major is in geography
Mm.
and biology. So my major is chemistry and food science, and also is a computer science. Yeah, our boss, his major was computer science. So we, because we're Asians, our our family members, even neighbors, will highly suggest you shouldn't learn art as your future major. So
So
that actually that is a hobby, and then turn to the profession.
that's
Yeah.
interesting. So do you have a lot of support or some support from home, or do you come from an environment that's very traditional in the sense that, hey, the art thing is nice, but you got to be practical and real and go into something you can make money in or have some security in?
Yeah, that's right. It's the second situation.
Mm.
So at the beginning, actually, my passion is biology,
Mm-hmm.
and because my exam score is not high enough to get me into the biology faculty. So I can't take that as my major in university. So I chose a chemistry. But that time is so weird. Every major have different scores. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
why. But now they changed. But by the time when I was in the university, it's a ridiculous policy.
Mm.
So I took a chemistry, and that made me really, 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 really unhappy.
Unhappy.
And unhappy, yeah.
You were so mad you turned green and turned into the Incredible Hulk.
Actually, I got a first symptom of a depression
Well,
when I
I'm glad
in
you're aware
this.
of it.
Yeah, I'm still struggle with the depression symptoms.
Mm.
So it's a really dark period of me.
Hmm.
And then I went to New Zealand to, every student study in science, that their parents expecting they go abroad, overseas, to continue their study. So I went to New Zealand, and also my parents and their friends kind of like suggest me to do the food science because that have a bright future, very practical. Yeah.
What kind of science? Foot or food?
Food.
Food, like
Food.
yum yum, eat food.
Yeah, food. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Sorry for the pronunciation. Yeah,
No,
the food
it's okay.
science. Yeah. So it's getting me more depressed, and I gave up.
So when are you gonna
By
say, Mom, Dad, love you, but shut the hell up? I'm gonna go do my thing.
back to 2012 or
Oh,
2013, I
you did
can't.
have this conversation with them.
Yeah, I did
Oh,
have
you're
this.
awesome.
It's not awesome. It's far from awesome.
Okay,
It's
well, tell me why it's not awesome.
it's a kind of heartbreaking time because
Okay.
I have to be honest to them. I'm not happy. I went to see the psychiatrist, and she said I'm depression, and I tried to kill myself. And I don't know why. Yeah, I
No.
think maybe because the choice of my life. So yeah, so I made that conversation,
I
and
mean,
my parents said, "Okay, we understand you, and you just do something can make you happy."
well, then you
So
got
then,
awesome parents, so it worked. Even though
yeah,
you
it's
had to go through a
worked.
lot of crap first.
Yeah, but it still feel really bad.
Of
I
course.
still feel really bad. Yeah.
It's what it is. It's looking at the emu in the eyes. It's terrifying, but you do it, and then all of a sudden there's beauty on the other side of it. And
Not really. I'm still struggling,
all
but
right,
I
one day
did
you'll see the
a
beauty.
little. Yeah, I did a little achievement, just step by step, baby step. I think.
Sure.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm very proud of you. I don't even
Thank you.
know you, but I'm very proud of you. And you know, I remember of one of my friends. Her name was Tess, and she was an incredible illustrator from China. And I asked her the same question. I'm like, well, how you have support? And at that time, it was no. Like she just knew that she had to do this art thing, or she was going to die inside, and maybe even ultimately on the outside. And
Yeah, I can feel her. We just the same kind of
yeah,
same thing. Yeah, I
and
feel really sorry about that.
and a lot of people don't get it because, especially in the East, in the Western world, it's being an artist is kind of like it's like how are you going to make a living, but at the same time there's enough space and encouragement of being an entrepreneur and going out and trying it. So no one's really going to try to stop you from doing it or trying it. Um, but it's still like, well, you go ahead and try it. If it don't work, make sure you have a backup plan. But in a culture like yours, it's very, very different. Very different.
Yeah, it's like taboo. When I was a
Yes.
teenager, I not even dared to think I would take art as my future career. There's no way because I come from a very traditional family. Well, all my families are working in university.
So was it
There,
e-
if
was it easier to tell your mom and dad about
no,
about your first kiss than it was to tell them about you really need to go into a different career path because you need to do the art?
it's not that kind of situation. It's when I got the job from
Mhm.
the Chinese National Geography magazine, then I tell them, and they're really
Ah,
happy
okay.
for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's
So
smart. That's smart.
yeah, in my family, if I want to get something, I have to prove I deserve that.
Mm,
So
gotcha.
that is a Chinese culture.
That's
Yeah.
cool. That's cool. I can respect that. So, yeah, I totally respect it. That's cool. Very nice. Very nice.
Thank you.
So now you're doing this book, okay? Well, let me ask you
Yeah.
this: while you were in university and you were going through, you were trying to do the biology, and then you got into the chemistry, and then you got into the food sciences. Um, Tell me a story uh, around you doing artwork. Like what kind? Like were you doing it personally for yourself? And if so, like what kind of work were you doing?
At the beginning, I surely doing it for myself. So I'm using the color pencils.
Hmm.
So I draw some native birds in New Zealand. You see, New Zealand is a land of birds.
Hmm.
So we have so many unique species here. So there is a huge parrot. Have you ever heard of that? They can't fly,
They
and
cannot fly.
it's cannot fly, and it's
Wow.
very endangered. It's called kakapo.
Okay.
It's a huge one. It's a green one, and you can't normal people can't see them even. So they only in some isolated islands,
Hmm.
which there's no mammal species can harm them. I draw the portrait of one of this, and I posted on the Chinese social media called Weibo.
Hmm.
Yeah, and my future boss saw that, so he asked me, okay, so whether you can do the Chinese birds illustration. So I said, yeah, sure, I can try, but I don't know how to do the watercolor. So my boss said, okay, I gave you some time to learn, and you gave me um, your result. Then we decide whether you can do this job or not.
Hmm.
So I kind of took 1 month, draw another unique New Zealand bird called the tui.
Hmm.
Um, then it's in watercolor. Then I show him. He said, okay, you're you're the one we're looking for. Then I
That's
got the job.
awesome. That's awesome.
Thank you.
That's
Yeah.
cool. You should be very proud of yourself. I mean, to go down in a book like that, um, it's very, very rare and very, very special.
Thank you.
So now you got that job while you were actually in New Zealand, correct?
Yeah. That's
Okay,
right.
so how in the you got to New Zealand because of school? Yeah, that's what you said.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so how long have you been there?
Almost 9 years.
9 years. Do you love it there?
Yeah, it's a beautiful place,
Huh.
and everything's so clean and it's beautiful. The lot of rain shoot here,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of movies here, and it's a lovely place. The people are very friendly. Yeah.
That's cool. Have you traveled anywhere else besides China and New Zealand?
No.
Oh, okay. Where would you like to go if you could?
Egypt.
Yeah.
It's yeah,
Why?
it's
Why is that?
always yeah. Well, since I was a kid, I'm really fascinated with the culture. The mural
Hmm.
and the statue and all all arts in the ancient Egyptian and those temples and the pyramids. So I
Hmm.
really wish I can go there sometimes. Yeah, and Europe. Yeah, surely. Especially Italy. I like the Renaissance arts
Mm.
like Botticelli. I always want to see the original masterpiece of
That's
him.
awesome. That's awesome. Very cool. Very cool. I think it's not hard for me to believe that you'll make that happen in your lifetime.
Thank you.
The, so now you're working on this book. Um,
Yeah.
when? How long is this project gonna? How long is it projected for?
It's really hard to tell, because it's the first time that the Chinese team doing this work,
Hmm.
and there are so many species alike reference pictures,
Mm.
and yeah, and at the meantime, there was many species be newly discovered.
Mm.
So it's really hard to tell, and most of us is new to the business, so we have lots of things to learn. For example, me, I have read a lot and get a lot of help from my team members.
Hmm.
So I think maybe next year. I'm. It's really hard to tell.
Okay. Cool. Cool. So when you're looking at your artwork, what you're doing now, um, and you're in that mode and you're saying, okay, well, the project is going to come to an end at some point. Let's say
Yeah,
a
yeah,
year, 2 years from now.
yeah.
And then you're like, okay, well, what am I going to do next? And what, if you could, what would you like to be doing next?
It's really hard to say. You know, I hope, just hope. So after we publish the book, so more people familiar to me, and I have the Facebook pages and Instagram account. So I hope I can get more commission from the other group, and because I get a lot of experience from this work. So I hope maybe I can do continue my career in scientific history arts artist.
Hmm.
Yeah, just hope so. Yeah.
Um, and let's say somebody else calls you, but it's not a bird book, um, but it is a science type of base book, and they need illustration work. What would
Yeah,
you love for
I
someone?
would glad to do that. I would glad to do that.
And specifically, what kind of illustration work would you like to do? You want to keep doing birds, or is there a certain kind of animal, a different animal that you'd like to do, or
All kinds of animals, even plants.
yeah?
Yeah, all of
What's
them.
what's what's cool about drawing plants?
Drawing plants is really hard. Even harder than drawing animals. The plants have the variation of forms, and their the way they grow is very different. And yeah, I'm not quite familiar how to do this, but I think I can learn.
I like your
Uh,
attitude.
yeah, yeah, but it's still very hard. But I already have the offer, from my hometown actually. It's my university. One of the professor, who study in botany, field,
Mm-hmm.
but he's planning to write a book about the plants in my hometown, but I think it's a huge work and don't pay a lot. So I said maybe if in future, uh, after this book, I think we will still have opportunity to work together. Yeah.
Cool. Now, if a young artist came to you and said, Helen, I really want to, start drawing animals, or I want to, start going in this path, but I'm
Yeah.
scared to do it. How would you encourage them?
Just don't be afraid. It's just for fun. Drawing animal actually is really fun process.
Mhm.
It's you see, watching them, it's a very interesting thing. I don't know whether you can understand or not. So every time I went to the zoo or watched the animal in wild, I feel peaceful
Mm.
and joy, and very enjoy when I saw the animal very happy and very alive.
Mhm.
So I think the observation itself is a very 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 fine. But and then you have the privilege to join them. It's even
Mhm.
better.
Mm.
So just don't be afraid and forget all the skill, forget all the things you feel difficult. Just draw it until you're satisfied for yourself. That's it. That why I began to draw. I just try to make myself happy.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Nice.
Thanks.
Nice.
Thank you.
Now, as you're going through this process with these illustrations, there's a concept I like to uh, share called agency. And
Oh yeah.
so, what are two or three either services or people or businesses that help you achieve your goals as an artist?
It's first of all definitely my family. So my family is the huge support for me, and also my boyfriend. He
Hmm.
is helped me to build my Facebook pages,
Hmm.
and he helped me to editing my interviews and lots of things. And also my family gave me the finance support. That's
Oh,
extremely
nice.
important. Yeah. So and also I have to thank for my team members. They are my mentors. They
Mm.
gave me a really good suggestion about how to draw birds, um, how to watch them, how to be a better artist and even better scholars. In some of them even write books and write articles about birds.
Hmm.
So that is very important for the scientific illustrator. Your art is not about passion. It's about the rational. It's about the scientific details. So you have to know all the characters of your your subject, and
Hmm.
then you have to present them in your painting. So that's very important. So accuracy and scientific characters
Hmm.
is very important. Yeah, so I really have to thank all my team members. They gave me huge help and encouragement because at the beginning, those things I did is basically very crap. I don't want to watch them myself again. But
Hmm.
they gave me support. They always said, "Okay, that's really good. You should doing the doing more. You're good, and don't be lose face. You're really good." So that courage gave me a lot of help and build my confidence.
That's awesome. And I want to
Thanks.
give your boyfriend a shout out because he's really helped you with your English as well.
Oh,
Um,
thank you.
uh, I always say
He'll
like,
be really happy to hear that.
yeah, I'm assuming like if you were, if you had a little like a Chinese boyfriend or something, like you guys would be just speaking, Mandarin or whatever, and you wouldn't be speaking English.
Yeah, that's right.
Right. Uh, now, it's funny when I was younger, I was like, yeah, I want to learn this language. And they would tell me, well, the best way to learn is to find a long hair dictionary. What?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, a girl. Okay. Um, so before we, before I ask you how people can get in touch with you, I need to ask you the most important question of our conversation.
Oh,
Um,
what that?
Let me guess. So, Helen, what is it that Ding Hao likes to eat?
Meat.
Yeah,
Always the
oh,
meat.
okay. The meat. Okay, you're a big meat eater.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
like what? Do you cook meat or do you just like to eat it?
Say both.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yes. I really like the Chinese style braised pork with soy sauce. Yeah, in Chinese name is called 红烧肉. Yeah, that is so yummy.
And like, describe it. Like, what would that be like?
It's like the store. It's you have to fry the meat first, so to drain the oil from the fat layer. I
Okay.
think they always choose the belly part of the
Okay.
pork. Yeah, and you fry it and make the skin crispy and join the lard a little bit. Then you pour the spice, like star. Is it called a star spice or something? I can't remember. And the Chinese pepper and yeah, and another kind of spicy like a chili, a dry chili, and then you pour the soy sauce and lots of sugar, and you just slow cook it. And maybe after 1 hour, we're done. Really, really yummy. You know, even Gordon Ramsay love it. I watched one episode. Yeah, Gordon Ramsay love it. It's amazing.
That's awesome.
I know.
You brought up Gordon Ramsay. That's hilarious. That's awesome. Wow. And then what is something that you personally like to make?
It's a Russian soup. It's called a porch. Yeah, because it's a winter time and I feel cold. So that thing is a comfort food. So basically you chop a lot of onions, carrot, tomato and beetroots. And you just fry them first a little bit and just pour in a pot and just pour a lot of water or beef soup as broth, and then you cook it for 1 or 2 hours. Then the color will be brightly red. It's so beautiful, and the flavor. I have you. Then you have added a lot of dill and parsley. Yeah, so the flavor is awesome. And when you serve it, you just pour 1 spoon of sour cream, and with the bread and the sausage, the Russian style smoked sausage.
Wow.
It's really awesome. Everybody should try that.
Like, how did you learn about this Russian cuisine?
You know, because my hometown is in northeast of China. We're close to Russia.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and also during World War II, there is a lot of Russians or Jewish people. They can escape to China. So they live in Shanghai. So this kind of soup is from them.
Wow.
And yeah, my grandpa, he from the south part of China. He really like it, and he gave this recipe to my mom, but without beetroots, because Chinese people not grow beetroots by that time. I don't know, but without beetroots. So it's a different. It's a little bit different recipe. Then I went to New Zealand. I found there was tons of beetroots, and there was a YouTube. So I found the very very native recipe from the Russian people on YouTube.
Nice.
Then I tried it myself, and it turns out awesome. So I fell in love with it with beetroots.
That's awesome. Very, very cool. Very, very cool. That sounds really, really nice.
It's really good.
So, Miss Helen, Miss Helen, Helen, how can people connect with you?
You guys can find me on my Facebook page. It's called Helen Nature Art, and my Instagram name is Helen Ding 186.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'll put
and also my email. You can contact me with my email.
Okay.
So my email is DINGHAO. My full Chinese name, Dinghao, and 2 Ds, so double D, and gmail.com.
Hey guys, how are you? I know for a while before I hooked up with some lessons with Victor. I had been seeing, like, bumping into some of his videos on analyzing paintings, And I found them to be super, super fascinating to kind of think about, because I quite honestly, even when I was creating my own work, I never thought about a lot of the things that he talked about, and it was a while for me to kind of just go ahead and get some classes with him and talk with him. It's just every time I ran into some of these intriguing videos, it was him. This is quite a few years before he was doing the coaching. And so I had to. I was intrigued so much that I just had to talk to him. And I finally did. And let me say that there hasn't been a plan or a painting that I've started that I don't hear some of his awesome wisdom. There was a struggle before that, or an unsure way of creating my work, which, don't get me wrong, I was pretty confident in a lot of the work that I was creating, but there was a sort of unsureness about where to place things and how I can make things make more sense. And after training with Victor for a while, this was at least a couple of years ago now, I haven't looked back. I feel way more comfortable in being able to place objects, place lines, so that the work makes more sense, so that it can really tell a story, not only through the objects or the subject matter, but the way in which they flow together. I am so grateful for that. Yeah, I'm not disappointed at all.
In just 30 days, the Core 80 experience teaches you to decode the intentional design underneath great masterpieces. Through video lessons, assignments, and feedback, you learn to recognize the underlining structures like thrust maps, echoes, and gamuts that give master compositions substance and gravitas. Knowing how master artists and illustrators compose their artwork unlocks your ability to give your artwork more meaning and energy. Enroll today and get a 7-day no-hassle money-back guarantee at core80.com.